Hello there everyone and welcome to my 10.1.5 Demonology Warlock Guide. If you want to command the Legion, burn your foes with overwhelming pets, well, enjoy Demonology. The stat you want to go for as a Demonology Warlock is the same as the other two Warlock specs, which is Haste and Mastery as your main focus. Crit and versatility aren't really as high, but a little bit won't hurt you. Basically, you want to get Mastery because it increases the damage done by your demons, and a lot of our damage is done from our demons. We want Haste because we want to build and spend as many soul shots as we can throughout an entire fight. So let's talk about class talents. Your class talents as Demonology doesn't really change that much from the other two. You will pretty much always have the same setup. The only real power nodes you have are Shadow Ball damage increases, Wild Imp damage increases. You also have Grimoire of Synergy, so you can buff your demon and your demon can buff you. You have a chance to refund soul shards and a passive damage proc. Outside of this, you still have your Wrathful minions, so you can increase the damage done by your primary pet, and you increase the attack speed of your primary pet. Defensively and utility-wise, Warlocks have a lot. Defensively, you get access to Fell Armor, which is just when you have your Absorb Shield, you take less damage and the damage is spread out over time. You get your passive Absorb Shield. You also have access to Mortal Coil, a 20% heal. You have increased maximum health, increased stamina. We also have it so that whenever someone uses one of our health stones, we're also healed by that amount. We also get a 40% damage reduction with Strength of Will to our innate damage reduction. And we have Dark Pact, which is sacrificing a bit of our HP to gain a huge Absorb Shield, which you can then further improve by either making the sacrifice be less impactful on you, or having it reduce cooldown. You also have access to Soul Link, which makes it so that 10% of all damage you take is taken by your pet. Warlocks are incredibly tanky. Utility-wise, you have a few things, which are mainly why Warlocks are brought to raid. You get Healthstones, you get a Summon Portal, you have Demonic Gateway. This is usually used by a raid leader. However, it's important to note that if you're ever in a bad spot where you haven't used the Gateway yet, you can Soul Burn into your Gateway. Lastly, you have access to some of the curses of enfeeblement. This isn't always useful, but Curse of Tongues can in certain encounters be very handy. Now, Warlock's main issue is the mobility. You only have one real mobility option, which is Burning Rush. You also have Demonic Circle and Teleport, but you need to preemptively know where to place down your circles in order to benefit. As you can see, most of the utility or defensiveness is coming from our class talents, where our damage will be coming from our spec talents. In order to fully grasp where our spec damage comes from, it's primarily our demonic tyrant in the current setup of things. This is a 1.5 minute cooldown and it does a buttload of damage and increasing the damage of all our other demons, including our summoned ones as well. We want to pair this up with Nether Port, which basically makes it so whenever time we spend soul shots, not every soul shot spent, we can summon additional demons to come out and fight. Other demons you will summon: Dreadstalkers, your Vile Fiend in single target, your Grimoire Felguard, and the natural occurring ones you get from inner demons as well as your Hand of Gul'dan. So how do we get soul shots? Well, we get them from Shadow Bolt. However, we mainly throughout a fight get it from Demon Bolt. That's because we have a passive called Demonic Core. Basically, whenever we lose imps, we have a 10% chance to gain a stack, making our Demon Bolt instant cast, and we can have 4 stacks of these. There are a lot of synergies in this spec tree where we gain benefits from our demons and our casts, which includes Hand of Gul'dan having a chance to grant us Demonic Core. We also have Houndmaster Stratagem, which makes it so that Dreadstalkers will increase all Shadow Flame damage from us. We also have Fell Sunder, which makes it so whenever we have Fell Storm from our regular demon or from our grimoire, that we will just increase the damage we deal. We also have Sacrifice Souls, where basically per demon we have out, we just hit harder with our main generators. Two last things I want to talk about with your tyrant is about your Soulbound Tyrant. So whenever we summon him, we instantly gain all our shots, so we want to be on 0 when we summon him, and we want as many pets out as possible due to Reign of Tyranny. This makes it so every imp grants 1 stack and every other demon grants 3 stacks, and our tyrant will then deal additional damage based on the amount of demons we have out. This is also why we are using Nether Portal to summon additional demons, and we have Ner'zhul's Volition, where we have a chance to summon additional demons, and then we will also have our Pit Lord summoned. It will hit harder depending on how many demons we've summoned during our Nether Portal. A slight note about Nether Portal: since it's based on soul shards spent and not per soul shard we have spent, this actually makes it so soul burn is an integral part of our 3-minute burn windows, because this is a soul shard spender, so that will grant us one stacked Nether Portal, so to speak. So how do we play Demonology in single target outside of our cooldown? So our base rotation is that we want to use our Shadow Bolts to build up shards. We want to have our Dreadstalkers out as much as possible, and outside of this it's just getting as many Hand of Gul'dans out as we can. Now each imp will then, once they die, grant us our Demonic Horse when they are out of energy, as we saw right there. This means that now I'm swapping to using Demon Bolt as a generator rather than Shadow Bolt. Now we can just sacrifice imps to get more demonic core procs, which you want to use basically on cooldown. However, you always want it up for your big cooldowns. You also want to make sure that when you use Power Siphon that you never overcap on demonic core charges. This is basically the rhythm of Demonology. You're getting your Dreadstalkers out, you're dumping shards with Hand of Gul'dan, and then you're rebuilding to do more Hand of Gul'dans. Our opener as a Demonology Warlock is very strict, simply because we don't have unlimited time to fit in as many soul shard spenders as we can. So what you would normally do on pull is right before you want to sacrifice your 2 imps with Sacrifice Soul. You build to 5 with 2 Shadow Bolts. You go Nether Portal, Potion, Shadow Burn, Vile Fiend, Grimoire, Dogs, and then we try to get in as many soul shard spenders as possible. Drop down to 0. Tyrant, drop another set of Hand of Gul'dans. And then once we have done all this, we want to do our Demonic Strength. And from then on, it's just going back to your standard rotation. Currently, we can use a Vile Fiend in between every Tyrant, and you should be doing so. And then once we have our Tyrant and our Grimoire Felguard back up, we can then go into like a 1.5 minute cooldown rotation, where we basically want to do the same thing. We want our Dogs out, we want Grimoire out, and we want Vile Fiend out. And then we want as many imps as possible before we hit Demonic Tyrant, and then continue our single target rotation when we have Demonic Tyrant out. That was basically your single target opener. Now for AoE or Cleave encounters, you can do 2 builds currently. You can go for a 3-minute Nether Portal build where you're focusing more so on boss damage. So like tyrannical weeks, for instance, right? But you still pick up stuff like Implosion, where we're basically sacrificing our imps or suiciding our imps to explode. We also make it so that our dogs now hit in AoE, and then we have a bit more focus on our Grimoire Felguard and our Natural Felguard, as well as getting Imp Gang bosses. Now, Imp Gang bosses are basically just better imps. When they die or explode, will summon a normal wild imp. The other build you can play is my preferred playstyle in Mythic Plus, where we go in and pick up Guillotine. Guillotine is a shorter cooldown, but overall I feel like it works better with how we actually play Demonology in AoE. Basically, Guillotine just makes our normal Felguard do its damage in AoE. For AoE, you still have your 1.5 minute cooldown with Tyrant and Grimoire Felguard. However, you're going to focus more on Implosion. Now, Power Siphon you can always use as a way to think of, well, that's 4 soul shards for 2 imps, and 4 soul shards will grant us at least 4 imps. So you can use it as a way to generate more imps with Hand of Gul'dan. Your base AoE is basically just keeping Hand of Gul'dans going. Try to get as many imps out as possible. I would say that once you have 2 Hand of Gul'dan imps, you have 7 smaller imps. That's when you go into your Implosion window. Now, your general AoE playstyle is that you want to put down Guillotine and have your pet go in and actually hit stuff. That's a lot of AoE damage. And then what you want to do is build up 2 Hand of Gul'dans and then implode. This will grant you a Demonic Core proc, but in general it's just building up to 2. And of course remember to use your Dreadstalkers. But build up to 2 Hand of Gul'dans, so you have like 7 or 8 imps, and then implode them. And then you go into these like implosion cycles where you're basically just reapplying more imps, throwing them in there, doing more damage overall. But yeah, that was all I had to say about Demonology. See you in the next one.